Hi, welcome to Growth Marketing Chat. Today I'm here with ALISON Fourneau. She's the VP of Marketing at CyberScent. ALISON, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great. So my first question for you is, what did you want to be when you grew up? Did you want to be a
Ooh.
marketer?
No, that never really crossed my mind much, to be honest with you. And I wasn't really the kind of kid that had like, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a doctor, kind of a personality. I was very go with the flow. So I knew a couple things, in watching my family has been in the company building space for a long time in technology. I got to watch a lot of amazing entrepreneurs build amazing teams. And so from a young age, I knew that I wanted to lead an amazing team. I wanted to build a company and build a culture where people were the best version of themselves in and out of work, and they felt like they could thrive there. Um, and that still, like to this day, is why I love marketing so much, because you're at the nexus of everything in the company. You get to touch every department, and you get to kind of facilitate that culture creation. So it ended up working out my priorities from a child's point of view, to where I am now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So congratulations on that. What it brings, as a question to me is that I agree with you. Marketing is such a central place in the company, right? And we get to work with all the departments. Uh, but in a lot of tech companies, it's really difficult for marketing leaders to establish themselves as a company leader, right? And to be able to influence the culture and to be able to influence where the company is going and to kind of have this trusted position within the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of time people don't understand what, like, the other people in the company don't understand what marketing is and what
Yeah.
it does. And if you can't get this level of understanding, obviously you don't get buy-in and you don't get the trust. So how do you go about building trust with your leadership team, your CEO, the board, like all the people that are so core and central to the company?
Yeah, well, and my perspective is coming, just so everyone knows, from a small company, a startup, right? So I came in as really the third full-time person in my company. So it was the co-founders, they had started the company, they created this amazing idea, and I was like, that is a cool idea. I want to go and help bring it to market. And so I've been with the company now for 4.5 years. Getting in early obviously helped, right? When you're in early, you're able to show the value of marketing really quickly, especially when you're starting from zero, and tell stories about, hey, look at this amazing lead that came through, or look at our logo that we made, that's new. I remember when myself and my marketing director, created that. That was so fun. So that's when you're at the initial early stages. It's a lot of storytelling. It's not a lot, you can always track metrics, but it's a lot of storytelling because they might not understand the importance of the metrics yet. Once you get bigger though, and now we're at a growth stage, we're much bigger now than we were like 4.5 years ago. The stories I tell are different, and the topics that I talk about with the C-suite and the board are different. So I talk a lot about, from day one, I talked about pipeline generation and closed deals, but now it's at a mass where, I talk about that a lot more. That obviously helps align priorities. The board cares about growth. The CEO cares about growth. The other executives care about growth. But I also talk about, where the market is going. I think it's easy for marketers to get stuck in this tactical mode where they're just, they're doing all of their marketing activities, right? The email, the webinars, the website, all these things. And it's easy for us because we're so detail oriented and focused on performing in a great way there. It's hard for us to kind of come up for air sometimes and look at the market and really help direct the strategy based on the market shifts. That's like one of my favorite parts of my job, and being able to tell those stories on what are our competitors doing? How are we positioning ourselves differently? How does that relate to our messaging that we're putting on our website? And why is that attracting amazing clients or customers? That's what gets the board excited. That's what gets the C-suite excited. So as much as metrics matter, I think it's a lot about the stories you tell. And depending on what stage of growth you're at, you're going to tell different stories that will, matter more or less to different team members.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's the key, right? It's like you need, like, the performance is like, you need it. It's your baseline. You need
Yeah.
performance. You need to bring in leads. You need to bring in revenue. But then you don't need. you need to not stop there, right? You also need to like be strategic and think about not only today, but like where are you bringing the company in the
Mhm.
future, right?
Yeah, and it takes a lot of, guts as a marketing leader who, again, like you said, in tech, a lot of times is traditionally looked on as, someone who's just performing all these activities, well,
Yeah.
to put yourself out there and really just insert yourself into all the different departments. Like call up your chief product officer and have, weekly, bi-weekly meetings with them, discussing roadmaps so that you can better influence your messaging and like all these things. I think if you're doing marketing well and you're doing positioning and messaging well and brand well, you have to do that. And ultimately that'll add a lot of value to the business because brand value, matters a lot.
It does matter a lot, and it influences performance, right? It's not
Mhm.
two separate things. It goes together.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that's something even recently I've been talking a lot with my other executives and board about is just the importance of brand value on your enterprise value. And it's something that we're really excited about. So it's good. It takes time, but once you get there, it matters a lot.
Yeah, it does matter a lot. Um, awesome. So, yeah, just a couple more questions. One is, like you just mentioned this one example, but there are a lot of things that we do in marketing that, we hear a lot about them, and you can look it up, but it's really difficult for people that are not in marketing to understand how they relate to each other, how it actually works, why it matters. Um, do you have like insights that you can share on like how do you communicate and educate your team members so that you guys are on the same page?
Yeah, so I think education is obviously super important. And to get people's, especially at the C-suite level and the board level, to get their time and focus, it can be difficult, right? They have a lot going on. So I always align when I do meet with them, whether it's one-on-one or in a group, I always align what I'm talking about to their current priorities. Because if you can educate them in that moment opportunistically, they're more willing to listen and they're more willing to absorb what you're talking about. So say, you just raised a bunch of money and the board has given you the mandate to hire people. Use that as an opportunity to meet with them and say, or even just send them, a deck of like, these are the people I'm hiring and these are the different things they're going to be doing and why it matters. That's relating to what they care about, but it's also allowing you to educate them on why it's important that you are even hiring these people in the first place.
Right.
So I think it's about educating them opportunistically rather than kind of like, uh, forcing them into it.
That's really good. I really like it. All right, great. So my last question for you, what are some of the most valuable lessons you've learned as a marketing leader?
Ooh, a lot. I've learned a lot, especially, at this company over the past like 4.5 years. Yeah, I would say just the importance of collaboration between departments, and how, I knew marketing always from my past experiences running marketing was at the nexus of everything. But when you're in a high growth startup, it's a whole new world. And you have the opportunity as a marketing leader to run operations, to run strategy, if you want it. And again, it takes that level of just like inserting yourself into other departments and inserting yourself into those conversations, but you can add a ton of value. I think I've learned just how much difference it can make to a business's growth if they prioritize marketing as a strategic asset rather than a tactical one. And I've been able to see it firsthand, and be part of it. So it's been really fun.
That's amazing. Well, Alison, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I really, really appreciate it. And this was such a fun conversation.
Awesome. Thank you.